Live from London, it's Plank of the Week with Kevin O'Sullivan.
Hello, everybody. Compliments of the season.
That's enough of that. Welcome to our festive special edition of Plank, not of the week, but of the year. These are the Uber losers. Let's see who's going to win. With me tonight is one hell of a panel. That is the charismatic Chloe Dobbs, the remarkable Rafe Heydel-Mankoo, our Christmas cracker Candice Holdsworth, and everybody's favourite political pundit powerhouse, Pete Barnes. That does describe you, doesn't it? Not really, but anyway, it's the best I could come up with. Let's get going, and first up with her nomination for Plank of the Year is Chloe Dobbs.
Well, it's got to be our Prime Minister, Keir Starmer. How on earth this man ended up in the highest office in the country is beyond me. I mean, listening to him talk is like, it's like watching paint
Water
dry.
torture.
Exactly. I mean, where do we even start with this guy? I mean, when he first came into power, he told us before the election, politics is going to change. The manifesto was called Change Politics Will Be Different. We'll get rid of all the sleaze and all the cronies. And then straight away, Lord Ali saga, he's getting all these freebies, all these free glasses, free concert tickets, free clothes. His son gets a free townhouse to stay in to revise for his exams. And then it's just all been downhill from there. I mean, he didn't even get a nice uptick in the ratings. You normally get a honeymoon period when you become Prime Minister. And then it
this
goes
is about 20 minutes.
Yeah, it lasts about 20 minutes. And it just went, psh, and he is now, at this point, the most unpopular Prime Minister in recorded history. And that is quite saying something. He's done...
He really is. He really is. Not forgetting his wife, Victoria. They call her Queen Vic. After the pub in EastEnders. And because she also took £5,000 worth of free clothes, they also call her Victoria Sponger. So that was bad. And don't forget, Chloe, or anyone else, if they want to discuss this, there was also another factor in his downfall was the unleashing of his incredibly popular policies, like cancelling the winter fuel allowance.
How many do you want to name?
I mean, where do we start? Well, I mean, when he first came into power, we had that summer where he decided to have the 1984-style crackdown on free speech. We had the winter...
Well, that which continues apace.
Yeah, they decided to scrap the winter fuel payment, and then when they decide to bring it back, rather than being humble and saying, look, guys, we messed this up, it wasn't really going to save that much money and it was really unpopular, they said, we've improved the economy so much that we've got the cash to give you your winter fuel payment back. And the whole way through his tenure, he's done this where he talks to us like we're fools. So when he talks about illegal migration, we all know the number of boats coming across is absolutely sky high, but he says, I've deported 35,000 people who shouldn't be here. And they're not people who've come across on boats. Those are people like Vietnamese nail workers who have overstayed their visas. When it comes to actually sending out people out the country who have come on boats with this one in, one out policy, it was meant to start at 50.
He doesn't need to deport anybody because he's smashed the gang.
Remember that?
Wait a minute, he hasn't smashed a single gang. I would suggest...
They were boasting about how...
I would suggest another reason that Keir Starmer is unprecedentedly unpopular as a Prime Minister is his propensity for lying and lying and lying. And here he is doing what he does best, telling fibs.
Let me be absolutely clear. We will not raise tax.
I will not raise taxes.
No tax rises, no income tax, no national insurance, no VAT.
I am announcing an increase in employers' national insurance contributions. I will maintain all income tax and equivalent national insurance thresholds at their current level. I know that maintaining these thresholds is a decision that will affect working people.
Rafe, the capacity for lying is, as I said, unprecedented. I've seen a few governments in my time, because I've been around a while, and I've never seen a government like this and a Prime Minister like this and a Chancellor like this who are prepared to stare us in the face and lie through their teeth.
I mean, we thought we were used to it under Boris Johnson, but at least he also knew that he was lying. What's happening here, of course, is that they're still pretending to be morally righteous. That's what makes it even worse. The biggest liar in history as Prime Minister, yet trying to convince us all that he's the morally uprighteous person, his party is decent. I mean, it just stinks to high heaven.
Yeah, the biggest liar and also the king of U-turns as well. We've just had, of course, the budget where they decided that they're going to scrap the two-child benefit cap after he had removed the whip from 7 of the Labour MPs in the past for asking for the benefit cap to be scrapped. He's clearly just done it now to appease voters, but he's refusing to accept that he has U-turned in any way whatsoever. He's insisting, I've always been about ending child poverty. How dare the Tories not scrap it? We've always been planning to do this all along.
But both him and Rachel Reeves, at the beginning of this disastrous administration, declared that we simply cannot remove the two-child cap on parental benefits because this nation cannot afford it. What they've had to do now, because of their left-wing backbenchers who are effectively running the country, is to create more and more massive taxes. So we have to pay huge taxes so they can pay parents who want to have 10 children. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
It's absolutely crazy. But there are some quite serious things that have also happened. I used the example of the speech he gave after the Southport attack, where he basically called everybody who was concerned about immigration a far-right thug, and the recognition of the state of Palestine, whilst hostages were still being held.
With no conditions for Hamas
and the initial speech basically blamed Israel for everything. There has been a series of major international and domestic incidents under Keir Starmer that, whilst it seems kind of funny, but the damage he's done, I've started to think, is quite irreparable, I'm afraid. And I don't know how long it's going to take us to turn everything back around, given how we've still got years of this to go.
Let me tell you something. Britain recognised Palestine, outrageously in my view, on September the 21st. 12 days later, on October the 2nd, came the murderous attack on a Manchester synagogue. Guess who also recognised Palestine on that very same day, at that very same moment? It was the useless Labour Prime Minister of Australia, Anthony Albanese. And guess what happened soon after that? Bondi Beach. Do you see a pattern emerging, folks? If you reward terrorism, you get a lot more terrorism, right? Let's move on to something that allegedly is supposed to be funny, a person who's supposed to be funny, but I'm afraid, I'm sorry to disappoint you, we're talking about Sir Lenny Henry, aren't we, Rafe?
Yes, Lenny Henry, a man who made a joke once in 1976 and has made a career out of that ever since and has coasted along. Yet another one of these Hooray Henry types who thinks that because he's a celebrity, he has actually the insightful intelligence to opine on all sorts of political issues now. And he's become yet another one of these campaigners. He's teamed up, of course, with those two other great intellectual heavyweights, Paloma Faith and Charlotte Church, to basically start a campaign against the dreaded far right, because, of course, reform is, basically as close to Hitler as you can imagine, apparently.
Yeah.
And on top of that all, he wants the taxpayer to pay 19 trillion.
What's a couple of trillion between friends?
19 trillion pounds to every single black person in this country, whether or not they were a descendant of a slave. So potentially slave-owning descendants will also benefit from this great windfall. 19 trillion is more than the entire GDP of China.
I mean, what annoys me about Lenny Henry and Paloma Faith and all that lot when they say, well, Paloma Faith didn't say this, but Lenny Henry wrote a book about it with some other idiot, saying let's hand out 19 trillion pounds in compensation money to every descendant of black slaves around the world, particularly in the Caribbean. And it's like, we would be kind. Oh, look at me signaling my virtue. Well, if we actually did that, the kindness of Lenny Henry would result in mass starvation around this country because people would go bankrupt, people would go broke, people wouldn't have any money. So in order to polish his own halo, he's perfectly prepared to watch thousands and thousands of children starve to death. Right?
But these woke idiots, they think that money genuinely go on trees. They say, we can just print it. We can just print 19 trillion.
That's exactly what they've been doing.
These people have no understanding of basic economics. They don't understand how inflation works.
No, the problem is, Chloe, they think you're the tree. That's the thing. The taxpayer is the tree. They just keep thinking, you rattle it a little bit harder, some more leaves will fall off.
They think this idea of limited money is some kind of evil capitalist thing that we've made up because we want to intentionally starve people. Like, we could just solve all the problems in the world and give unlimited cash to everyone if we wanted to.
But that industry...
That would lead to hyperinflation.
But that industry, I promise you, like, you cannot express a common sense opinion, yet all these people come out with the most absurd things. But if any of them were to say any of the things we said, my God, like, they would be shunned to the outer edges. It's crazy.
Well, I just want to get back to a time when we didn't know what celebrities thought about anything. You know, we just finished Christmas. People at home would have been watching Morecambe and Wise reruns or the Two Ronnies. No one knew where they were politically, and so the whole nation could unite together and enjoy their content. Now I can't watch Lenny Henry. Well, I never could watch Lenny Henry.
No one could.
I can't
there
watch.
He is being funny.
Alan Partridge, I can't watch now because I know that he loathes me. You know, it's a terribly divisive world of celebrity now.
It's all one opinion, though. That's why I feel so irritated watching it. I mean, it's all just left-wing, nonsensical rubbish.
Because that's what actors and singers and dancers tend to adhere to, that kind of political philosophy, because they think it makes them look good. What annoys me about this Together organisation, Lenny, Paloma, Charlotte and all that gang, all the predictable usual suspects, is they're basically turning around to their fans and saying, you know, we despise what you think. We have contempt for your outlook. You lot like reform. We're going to campaign against you, the people who put money into our pockets, because we hate you. That's what I don't like. The contempt they have for their own fans.
Yeah, definitely. But I will say that the one thing to give them a little bit of credit is I would probably vote for Nigel Farage because of that group.
Yeah,
you know, that's the thing. I think
that would be a stretch for you.
For me, that's
it?
a big stretch. But this is the point. All you have to do is get the picture of them, a quote they've made on billboards around the country, and Reform would walk it in.
What you will find, though, as happened in America, the ordinary people, I hate to say that, normal people, always rebel furiously against celebrities, alleged stars, telling them what to do and think, as they did in America. All the Hollywood stars, you don't vote for Joe Biden, no, Donald Trump's a racist, he's evil, you can't vote for him. And what did America do? They said, sod you Hollywood Tinseltown tools. We're going to say something else, and we're going to vote for Donald Trump. So you're right, Rafe, what Lenny and his gang are inadvertently doing is probably making an electoral triumph for Nigel Farage at the next election absolutely inevitable. Let's move on, and it's another in the rogues gallery of potential planks of the year, and the nomination now comes from Candice Holdsworth.
So it's our excellent Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, who I think...
These are very strong, these nominations.
This is a good one.
There she is with her
They're about to kiss them.
There she is with her boyfriend. Oh, no, it's not, is it? No.
But their fates are twinned together, which is very interesting. I think it was last Christmas on Plank, she was nominated for Plank of the Week. And we were all totally sceptical that she was going to achieve any of her objectives. And I think we were proven right. She hasn't achieved growth. Inflation is still going and it's terrible. She has presided over an economy where no new jobs are being created. She has broken every manifesto promise. I mean, this is just failure from top to bottom, yet she's still there. Will she be there for another Christmas? Because Keir Starmer's a bit too afraid to get rid of her because he knows she goes, he goes.
Well, we're going to show you some footage here. And I think this is an awkward moment for most blokes, because men just dissolve when they see a woman cry. So when I watch this, old Rachel sitting there in floods of tears, my reaction is disappointingly human. I feel sorry for her. You know, I hate to see a woman cry. But that said, perhaps the Chancellor of the Exchequer should train herself not to cry in public. Yeah. It's not becoming of her office, is it, Candice?
It was bizarre, and it's still unexplained. I mean, it's clear she's overwhelmed, she's in over her head. Everyone knows that. A lot has come to light, and it's not untrue about her embellishing her CV, so no one trusts that she's got the skills to do what she's doing.
And her
it's
chess
plain.
record as well. Yeah. She's been lying about her chess record.
My favourite thing about it was during the election, the Telegraph called it Labour's secret weapon. They should have kept her a bit more secret if I was there. I better regret that headline.
Reform's secret weapon is
exactly right. So, the worst lie she told, though, she's lied about her career. She's exaggerated her great achievements as an economist. She wasn't an economist in the first place. She was in the complaints department, then the accounts department, Rachel from accounts, and later on served as an economist at the Bank of England, but not for as long as she said. So she lied about all of that. And as Chloe said, she lied about being a chess champion. But her worst lie, which was only recently proved, was that she was having to tax us to the hilt because the Tories had left a £30 billion black hole in the nation's finances. Not true. She made that story up as an excuse to tax us to the hilt because her Labour backbenchers, her left-wing backbenchers, were ordering her to increase our welfare bills.
And then the OBR brilliantly exposed her for it in that letter. I mean, she is like the queen of lying, this woman. We've just seen the clip of her.
The thing is, she's not very good at it, though, because she keeps getting caught.
I know,
the problem.
But she doesn't have the humility to put her hands up and say, oh, I genuinely had to change my mind.
Well, they never do that, do they? They're
just
politicians.
no humility.
But in previous years, lying about this fiscal black hole would have been a cause for resignation.
It's a criminal offence.
The market.
This was a bung, right? This was a £20 billion bung to the backbenchers because they're so fearful of them.
It was.
Lifting up the two-child benefit cap. You know, we've got people wanting to get rid of juries because we can't afford our jury system. There's more money being spent on this lifting the child benefit cap. That could have all gone to the court services. But anyway, one thing is for certain, even if she doesn't get Plank of the Year, you know it's going to be on her CV.
Yeah, exactly.
At some point that she won.
It will be, nominated. Highly commended. But Kemi Badenoch, for the Tory leader, this catastrophically incompetent Chancellor, is an everyday Christmas present. And here is Kemi roasting Rachel.
Government spending up, welfare spending up, universal credit payments up, unemployment up, debt interest up, inflation up. And what about the things that you want to go up? Growth down, investment down, business confidence down, the credibility of the Chancellor, and not just down, through the floor. These figures are shocking.
Also, she's taxed milkshake.
I'm sure we'll all be super slim by next week as a consequence.
No, but I thought one of the most reprehensible things is when she said, "Oh, you are being mansplained on how to run the economy," and I know Kemi had a good line.
I hate
that
this
was brilliant, wasn't it?
Yeah,
As one woman to the other.
Yeah, but no, if you notice that they all seem to. Shabana Mahmood blamed racism for the fact she can't control the immigration border, and David Lammy blames racism for his own incompetence. But you know, it's just David Lammy. But you know, they always hide behind something, and it's very telling.
Yeah, she did that unprecedented press conference a few weeks before the budget where she blamed everybody else for the country's finances and tried to hold up the victim card and say, it's not my fault, it's Brexit's fault, it's the Tories' fault, it's global headwinds' fault. I'm just, a woman trying to do her job best and I'm doing the best I can. And she thought that we'd fall for it. No, absolutely not. And then she, right before the budget, did these puff pieces in the FT, for example, saying, oh, it's all these misogynists. I get so much criticism just because I'm a woman. And then Kemi Badenoch absolutely gave it to her at the dispatch box and said, let me tell you, woman to woman, it's got
we
nothing
got to that point
do.
we made 5 minutes ago. Rachel Reeves, she has been a disaster. So a very, very strong nomination, I think, from Candice there. Let's move on. It's Peter Barnes with Angela Rayner.
I came to play.
Angela Rayner.
I came to play to win, and I brought Angela Rayner to the floor because this woman has had quite the year. You know, she's Deputy Prime Minister, God knows how, but she had the great downfall over the property tax. She failed to pay the taxes on £800,000 flat in Hove, miles away from her constituency, and then she tried to blame the accountancy firm for not getting the right advice.
Well, the estate agents.
Yeah, the estate agents. They then came out and said, we never gave you that. We told you to go get actual tax advice. And then she had the kiss of death when Keir Starmer went, she's got my full confidence, so therefore she was cleaning out a desk the next day. But she's had quite the doozy of a year, really, because she failed to meet the housing targets, and she was rumoured to have wanted to resign, and Keir begged her to stay. But then she said that he couldn't even run a bath. She tried to bring in blasphemy laws under the Islamophobia bill. She then had all the expenses under Lord Ali, because she was involved in that with the flat in New York. Her boyfriend was still using the ministerial car that she has. Then she had
Why does she still have the ministerial car?
Yes, that one I don't know. I just presume it's.
I do know it's for security reasons, but that she was allowed to keep her ministerial BMW for security reasons.
And that came out at like the same time that we found out that
Nigel
they had
Farage
massively
was
cut back
having
Nigel's
Farage's
security.
is being cut
Yeah.
back.
Angela's boyfriend is more important.
But then
than
I
Nigel
also
Farage's
think,
security.
you know, there's this fact that she's not gone away. Despite all of this, she is somewhat like Teflon or whatever.
She hasn't paid her.
She still hasn't paid it, but she's rumoured, she's made like open threats to Keir Starmer. She's offering jobs out already to take his job. So there is an open civil war because there is back Ange, I'm afraid, which is
Well,
the
listen,
phrase
we
going
need to
around.
move on. We're going to have a look now at the migrant crisis. So here is a dinghy coming across the channel. There it is. That is Angela Rayner with a huge goblet of wine and a vape. Very, very unwisely after buying this flat in Hove overlooking this,
What a
going
classy
for a little
lady.
sail. I mean, she wasn't really thinking ahead, was she? You know.
Does that?
But then-
Seriously.
I don't know if you remember, but she also was involved in the Birmingham bin strike, where Unite threatened to take away her membership, but she's not a member of Unite, although she had no idea if she was or she wasn't. And so, yet again, she just finds herself in the most bizarre moments of British politics this year. But even on the international stage, you don't remember when she went to Ethiopia for a random trip for no apparent reason?
Oh yeah, and then she asked if.
Honestly, this woman has had a year.
She then asked the Treasury if it was okay for her to go on a couple of days safari while she was there,
And they
and
were
was
like,
told,
"Nope."
"No, Angela, this is an official visit. You can't go looking at rhinos. Get on with your work."
Yeah, I'm going to say the people of Ethiopia have
If there
suffered
is
enough.
any.
Bringing shame on us redheads, honestly.
Honestly, yeah. But it's the way that people defend her because she comes from a working class background. The woman used a wealth management fund. What working class person is using a wealth management fund to hide taxes and muddle them all up? It's just ridiculous.
Well, if you want, we're just about to go to break now, but if you want the horror prediction of next year, it could well happen. That would be Angela Rayner, Prime Minister, taking over from ailing Starmer, and Ed Miliband as the Chancellor. That's the dream ticket for Labour Party members, all of whom clearly need psychiatric help. And on that bombshell, let's go to break.
Live from London, it's Plank of the Week with Kevin O'Sullivan.
Welcome back. This is part 2 of Plank of the Year, where we choose the year's biggest losers. Who's going to win the Biggest Losers competition? Well, I'm putting forward, we have some very, very strong contenders so far. I'm putting forward pretty powerful runner and rider. That is Meghan Markle, Duchess of Sussex. Her As Ever brand, which sold things like honey for $28 a jar.
Bunch of suckers.
Dried flowers for something like $14. Jam, scam jam, pretend jam, $14. The prices were off the scale. If you want to buy her rosé wine, which isn't very good, I've tried it, but if you want to buy it, you have to get 3 bottles with packaging. That's $120. $120. Although she will give you the packaging off. So it goes back to $110. So $110 for... The prices are ridiculous and nobody can ever get it because she's always out of stock. So that's bad enough. But I think another powerful reason why Ms. Markle, the Duchess, the difficult Duchess, should win Plank of the Year is her abysmal TV show on Netflix. Welcome to my beautiful home. What do you mean it's not my fucking home? Every morning I pick beautiful flowers from my beautiful garden and I feed them to my beautiful children. So what if you haven't got a fucking garden? I haven't really got any children. I hate fucking bees. Get me out of this bee suit now. I've always loved taking something pretty ordinary and elevating it. You know, like my husband. It's so funny that people keep calling me Meghan Markle because it's Meghan Sussex now. It's Meghan fucking Sussex. Meghan fucking Sussex. Meghan fucking Sussex. Everybody hated it. I called it Netflix's answer to water torture. But water torture is actually far preferable than an hour with the Love Meghan holiday special. I don't advise it, folks. It really is tedium incarnate. Let's go on to the next nomination. It's you again, Chloe.
It's David Lammy.
Yeah, Calamity Lammy.
I just, you know that the talent pool is really, really poor when David Lammy is the best option to pick to be Keir Starmer's deputy after Angela Rayner had to resign. I mean, we've seen the clip, of course, of him not being able to see the policeman right behind him and him his terrible performance on Mastermind. But in office, he's been Calamity Lammy, hasn't he? We've had all these prisoners out on the loose. We, of course, famously
about 12 a month.
We had Hadish Kabatu, the Ethiopian migrant who sexually assaulted a girl while he was staying at the Bell Hotel in Epping. I was quite concerned when David Lammy said he'll be helping the Met Police in the operation to find the missing offender, because I thought, well, I can't spot a policeman that's right behind him, so he'll probably make the search even more difficult for the police, knowing him. He's trying to scrap jury trials, and everyone has said, I mean, you've had various polls and what done on this, and everyone says that's an awful idea. Why on earth would you leave it up to the lefty activist judges in these serious cases? But he wants to go ahead with it because he's like, great, it will save some money. Fantastic. And then we've had all of these prisoners on the loose as well, consequently, after Hadish Kabatu. And he decided to stand in, he had to stand in for Keir Starmer at PMQs one week. First of all, he'd forgotten to put a poppy on, and then
while delivering a eulogy for Remembrance Day.
Yeah, and he's boasting
it's so important. He's standing there without a poppy on.
Yeah, wasn't he saying, oh, yes, I'm so proud I'm the first black guy to be doing PMQs, right? He made a complete mess of it. And he made him
scoot it up, didn't he? Yeah.
No poppy. And then he was asked 5 times if he knew of any other offenders like Hadish Kabatu that were out on the loose from prison, and he wouldn't answer. And then we find out, 20 minutes later, that actually he knew on Tuesday, the day before PMQs, that there was in fact another migrant on the loose from Wandsworth prison, and he didn't tell us.
So you reckon it should be David Lammy, to summarise? But he's an intelligent guy, as Chloe was referencing, and here he is. Absolutely storming it on Celebrity Mastermind.
What was the married name of the scientists Marie and Pierre who won the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1903 for their research into radiation?
Antoinette.
Curie. Who acceded to the English throne at the age of 9 on the death of his father Henry VIII in 1547?
Henry VII.
Edward VI.
Moron! That's David Lammy, the Deputy Prime Minister and Justice Secretary. Absolutely.
David Lammy is the gift that keeps on giving, rather like chlamydia, I think.
Yeah.
And the thing is, for a long time, I didn't want him to leave because he's such good comic relief to everybody. At least, in these dark days, he was always guaranteed to lift. But when he's doing away with juries...
he was also a very big fan of handing away the Chagos Islands, because he thinks that this is some amazing decolonisation measure, which I'm sure Rafe can fill us in on the history to confirm that that's not the case.
Well, it's quite clear that this is a man who basically prioritises far-left ideology over Britain's national interest. Post-colonialism, decolonisation, got a good supporter in Keir Starmer and our Attorney General, and our enemies think now that the Labour Party are allies, Millet thinks there's a chance of getting back the Falkland Islands. The Attorney General was supporting reparations as well. Lammy is part of all of this, and when he was Foreign Secretary, I kept saying, someone remind him the job of a Foreign Secretary is not to promote foreign interests, it's British interests.
And by the way, when he was Foreign Secretary, he had a portrait of the Queen, a photo portrait of the late, great Queen Elizabeth II, very haunting photograph of her in black and white, very nice photograph. He had that taken down and replaced by 2 Pan-African flags. That's the kind of guy we're talking about. What I worry about with people like Lammy, by the way, also wants to give the Caribbean nations trillions of pounds worth of reparations to compensate its citizens for the hell of plantation slavery 3 centuries ago. He's another one of those. What I worry about Lammy, and indeed great swathes of this cabinet, indeed the Labour Party generally, is I just think they hate Britain.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Without a doubt. I mean, I just look at his response to when the Israel and Gaza situation blew up. The Brits were miles behind in helping people get out of the situation. And, it was said by people on the ground that the Foreign Secretary, the Foreign Office didn't really care. And I think that speaks volumes, really, about their priorities, about actually understanding Britain's role in the world and what it means to be British. I just don't think they understand it. And more importantly, they want to tear every bit of it down, and I think they have to be stopped at some point. But
they don't like tradition because tradition is British, so they want to smash every tradition down.
But he knows nothing.
He's on some kind of, well, Lammy in particular is on some kind of mission, but I think Starmer is too. Rachel Reeves' economics are political. They're the politics of envy and so on and so forth. So I think they're an ideological sixth form activist type of cabinet, and that's really, really dangerous for the country. Talking of dangerous, not necessarily for the country, but certainly, well, he probably is, but also for the capital city. It is Rafe Heydel-Mankoo's nomination. Who have you got, Rafe?
Well, I'm nominating everyone's favourite pantomime villain, Sadiq Khan.
Yeah.
A man who seems to spend every waking moment trying to devise ways to frustrate and infuriate Londoners and make their lives into a living hell, whilst also poking his nose into national and international affairs that have nothing to do with him whatsoever. I think he must hold the record of having been nominated more times than anybody else over the lifetime of this show, and with good reason. And this year, of course, he has now become, as a great reward for incompetency, the highest paid politician in the country, earning more even than the Prime Minister, a whopping £170,000, plus all of his new deputy mayors he's appointed together. £2 million cost for their salaries, which is equivalent to £3,000 worth of Londoners' pay tax to support them. It's about 200,000 congestion charges to pay all of their salaries. And of course, congestion charge has increased now. Anybody with an electric vehicle as well is also going to fall under this. But most devastatingly of all, of course, I think for this year, the scandal of scandals is his denial of the reality of the rape gangs that have gone on in London, which is probably the capital of the whole country with all of this, and the disgraceful way at Mayor's Question Time when he spoke to Susan Hall and pretended he was clueless as to what he was saying. For that reason alone, he should be kicked out. But there are so many other reasons.
Absolutely right, Rafe. I mean, as you say, there's so many reasons that this guy is a worthy contender to be Plank of the Year. But the worst was his pretense that the rape gang scandal had not affected London at all. And as you say, at the London Assembly, when the leader of the Tories, Susan Hall, grilled him on it and said, what are you going to do about the rape gang? And he acted like he'd never heard of the grooming gang scandal. He goes, sorry, what do you mean? She said, what are you going to do about the grooming gang scandal, the rape gang scandal? What are you going to do about it? It's happening do you mean county lines? She said, no, I don't mean that. And if I was Susan, I would have said, Sadiq, you may have read about the grooming gang scandal in the newspapers, perhaps have seen it on the 6 o'clock and 10 o'clock news, on the television, on the radio, everywhere you look. He acted like he'd never heard of it. And now, of course, because the police have said, actually, we've got hundreds and hundreds of historical cases to look into of potential rape gang crimes, he's having to concede, oh, yes, well, I've always had the victims as first and foremost in my agenda. No, he hasn't. He's tried to pretend that something that is happening in virtually every single other town and city in the country isn't happening in the capital city. It is, and his failure to address it is exactly why the rape gang scandal prospered in the first place, because the authorities pretended it wasn't happening. He's doing it again.
Yes,
and worse than that, when he was asked those questions by Susan Hall, we've now found out he had on his desk, he had reports of girls being taken to hotel rooms and being mass raped there, and he knew about all of that and he didn't mention any of that.
It was his own official report, and he was supposed to have signed it off personally, and then he got, like you said, he got up there and he lied. What is it with this party and their ability just to stand in front of you and tell you a barefaced lie? We're just so far down the rabbit hole and through the looking glass at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, is this man human? Does he have a heart? But
debatable.
We all have different political opinions, but I think if anyone's just a normal human being with moral compass, if you hear stories of little girls being raped, and also, let's talk about knife crime, of people being stabbed to death on the streets of your city, would you not be concerned? But he just seems to just joke and laugh about
I wouldn't. I'd just prioritise clean air.
Yeah.
I prioritise clean air. Never mind people getting stabbed to death, women getting raped on the street. Never mind that. Let's make sure the air is clean. If I wanted to breathe clean air, I wouldn't live in a bloody city, you idiot. Let's go to break.
from London, it's Plank of the Week with Kevin O'Sullivan.
Welcome back, part 3 of Plank of the Year, not just Plank of the Week, Plank of the Year, the year's top losers. Who will win the Losers' Trophy of the Year? We're trying to work it out. And next up with her nomination, her second nomination is Candice Holdsworth. And you've got the Doom Goblin.
So Greta Thunberg, apparently, is how you pronounce her name. The deranged child prophet, who is not a child anymore. I think we all fed her little narcissist.
Showcasing her Milan hairstyle.
Yeah, she does. She looks like she's from the Middle Ages, doesn't she?
Looks like He-Man.
Yeah, I mean, we fed her narcissistic entitlement when she was a child, and now she's just an absolute monster. And she spent the past year, she actually did this, she spent the past year on boats with all the worst people in the world, all basically the Islamist adjacent, trying to storm Gaza and to stop the war. This is what she claimed, although the Israelis had it right when they said it's just a selfie boat. They all just did it for publicity. Of course, the IDF intercepted the boats and gave her a sandwich. These horrible, horrible IDF monsters, they were so cruel to her. Popped her on a plane and deported her, which is exactly the right thing to do. Basically, whatever she attaches herself to, you know it's the next bit of lunacy. So there's climate hysteria, Israeli hysteria, whatever's next.
Whatever happened to saving the world, saving the planet, she's moved on to just saving Gaza. So she's kind of made her remit a lot smaller as far as I can work out. But yeah, she went on these 2 flotillas, humanity flotillas to Gaza. Israel, nice enough to make sure they didn't actually land in Gaza because they'd have been killed instantly.
Do you not remember what Trump
said? Greta Thunberg, on the second one, she was the leader of the flotilla, about 20 boats. So they all get on in Italy or something. And it's full of all of her LGBT, gay rights friends. And then they stop her in Tunisia to pick up all these Muslim anti-Gaza or anti-Israel campaigners. Now, the Tunisian Muslims took a rather less modern view of gay rights. So there was virtual mutiny on board between these 2 divided factions. And Greta, the Doom Goblin, responded by renouncing her captaincy. She was no longer leader. And anyway, but better still, they had on board these loads and loads of food for the poor starving Gazans, which they ate. Yes. So by the time they actually were stopped by the Israelis, once again in the middle of the Mediterranean, they'd eaten all the food. So not much of a mercy mission, really, Pete.
No, but I'm going to say my favourite was what Trump said. When they actually detained her, he went, "Oh, hasn't Israel suffered enough?"
Exactly.
And he was. And there was a scary moment where I thought, well, if they do deport her, which country is going to suffer next? That's the thing. Like, which nation is going to be inflicted with her? Because no matter where she goes, she just brings trouble. She was desperate to get detained by the Israelis. She wanted that picture. It's all publicity. And like you said, she was indulged as a child. Yeah. World leaders were listening to a person who'd spent 12 days in school. I mean, it's bizarre. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, she never went to school. She sat in a square, didn't she, outside her government in Sweden, complaining about... the threat to the planet, environmentalism and all that. Do you remember she made that speech saying, "How dare you? You've taken our future. How dare you?" And that was telling us, that was back at God knows when it was. I think it was like 2019 or so, telling us that without a shadow of a doubt, that by 2023 the world would be consumed by water and we would all have drowned. Perhaps that's why she's now focusing on Gaza, because her predictions about the planet just don't ever seem to work out, do they?
She claims that they're linked together. She says, "Oh no, I'm not inconsistent. It's because I'm really concerned about the emissions from the bombs going off in Gaza. It's all just about the fumes."
The emissions.
She said that when she was quizzed on this.
Well, her flotilla would be sending out a lot of emissions.
Speaking of her flotilla, there's the footage when they first got intercepted by the IDF. They all decided to throw their devices in the sea, their phones and their laptops, and you can hear the footage of them saying, "Throw it all in the sea." But then you go back and there is, of course, a tweet from when she was an eco-activist saying how awful it is, all of this littering of electronic devices in the Mediterranean Sea, and we really must do something about it.
If the world must end, there would be one plus about that.
Greta would go with the world. So it's not all bad if the planet ceases to exist. Of course, the planet won't cease to exist. That's the sort of self-obsessed element of this. Is it all these eco? We're destroying the planet. We're destroying the world. No, we're not. We may be making it a little bit difficult for humans to exist on it, but we're not destroying the planet. And also, of course, the jury's out on whether or not humanity is having any contribution whatsoever to climate change. That has not been proved. But in Greta's mind, it's a cast iron certainty. But certitude is the thing you should worry the most about in all people. It's the sign of lunacy. Let's talk of lunatics. It's Peter Barnes. No, Peter Barnes has got Magic Grandpa.
Yeah, I was going to say Magic Grandpa is back with a bang. The revenge, I'm liking to call it this year, because he's back with your party. I mean, this was the culmination of Zarah Sultana, the Gazan Independents, and Jeremy Corbyn and a handful of others all got together and decided that they would form a political party to take on the not so left-wing Labour Party, which is an entirely different concept. But it was just such a calamity. It was everything you imagine, a kind of student union, like infighting, like nonsense. But my fear with this lot is actually the voter base is there, the movement is there. They're just incompetent, because that conference that they held, it was everything from, what was it you called it, Rafe? The cast of the Star Wars bar.
Extra from the Star Wars
That's
bar.
the one.
Yeah, I mean, the footage from their conference defied belief.
Yeah.
And when they formed this rag-bag army of lunatics, whenever it was, 6 months ago or something, they announced, we've got a working title. We don't know what we're going to call the party, but the working title is going to be Your Party. Yeah. 6 months later, after much discussion, votes, democracy at work, they decided to call the party Your Party. Yeah. They stuck with that. But it's not my bloody party, I'll tell you that. Here is Zarah Sultana, always a laugh, a joke, a suicide pact. It's Zarah Sultana launching the membership portal without telling old Jezza.
Jeremy Corbyn and Zarah Sultana's new party is in total chaos. So, can it survive? Sultana says it's a sexist boys' club and claims she was being forced out. The MP had asked people to become members for 55 quid and claimed 20,000 people had signed up, apparently raising over £1 million. But Corbyn said this was unauthorised and urged people to cancel their membership. He said he was taking legal advice and even referred the matter to the Information Commissioner's office.
But I wish they could get their act together because they could do the Labour Party some serious damage. Yeah. So I want them to prosper. I want the Green Party to do well as well, to damage Labour. I mean, that doesn't seem to be happening either.
Yeah, this is the big problem. I've always said that the final finish to the Labour Party will come from a southpaw, not a right hook. And, you know, it will be the left that will take them down because they're not left-wing enough. How many times do we hear this argument? It wasn't the real left-wing. They weren't real socialists. Well, this lot seem to be running around with every Islamist you can find. And who knew? They don't have a big support for trans rights. That was a big blowout at the conference. Who saw that
They
coming?
were obsessed with that. Whole conference seemed to revolve around trans rights. Yeah. Nearly everybody who took the podium at the Your Party conference was non-binary.
Yes.
Anyway, a lot of people say that Jeremy Corbyn is a great guy. Oh, no, he isn't. Here he is announcing his pantomime. Yeah. Corbyn to play the Wizard of Oz in a pantomime in his native Islington. What did I say? That's so yes, he's going to be. He is in this pantomime.
Yeah, but there's also,
it's only a filmic walk-on part, apparently.
There's a bit of a sinister side to it, though, and it's one thing you pointed out, Kev, that he was the second signatory to the petition to block the Maccabee fans coming to Birmingham.
Well, he was the co-signer. He was more than that. Yeah. With that local MP, what's his name?
Ali Khan.
With him. They launched the petition. They were the co-signees. Yeah. They launched it. So suddenly, for the first time in his inordinately long career, he's been an MP since 1827. Jeremy Corbyn suddenly became interested in football hooliganism in Birmingham. He's the MP for Islington North in London. So for the first time ever, he was interested in football hooliganism, or was it just that he quite fancied banning some Jews from coming to Birmingham? You decide. Let's go to break.
Live from London, it's Plank of the Week with Kevin O'Sullivan.
Welcome back. Oh, I hope you all had a fantastic Christmas and you're still enjoying the festive phase. We are in the last section of this annual Plank of the Year show, a spectacular show, and it's my go to make a nomination, and it is another strong one, I'll tell you. It's the BBC. Where do you start? Where do you start with the BBC? Because all the BBC, our state broadcaster, which we're forced to pay 180 quid a year for, unless you can wriggle out of it, which I never quite can, it just seems to stagger, doesn't it? From one crisis to another scandal, to another crisis, to another scandal. And in the end, the Keystone Cop Director General who took over in 2020, Tim Davie, could stagger no more. And he had to go when Donald Trump said, I'm going to sue the corporation for $1 billion. Let's have a look.
In a little while, you'll be seeing I'm suing the BBC for putting words in my mouth, literally. They put words in my mouth. They had me saying things that I never said coming out. I guess they used AI or something. So we'll be bringing that lawsuit. A lot of people are asking, when are you bringing that lawsuit? Even the media can't believe that one. They actually put terrible words in my mouth having to do with January 6th that I didn't say. And the beautiful words that I said, right? The beautiful words, talking about patriotism and all of the good things that I said, they didn't say that, but they put terrible words. They actually have me speaking with words that I never said.
Tim Davie, the Director General, 550 grand a year, had to resign, and so did the head of news, Deborah Turnus, £431,000 a year. They've both had to quit. Which brings to an end the excellent nominations for this show, and so it falls upon me to make the decision as to who is the Plank of the Year. Big decision. Big thanks, by the way, to an excellent panel. They're all in festive green. Did you notice? So you got green Chloe, green Rafe, green Candice, and olive green Pete. Yeah, olive green Grinch Pete. Yeah. And seriously, I've got a green shirt on. We weren't asked. We weren't asked. It just happened. Truly a Christmas miracle. A Christmas miracle. God works in mysterious ways. Now, I have to choose. And honestly, very difficult to choose. But I think, we have to go to the top of the mountain, don't we? We have to choose the overarching, obvious, massive, predominant Plank of the Year. And that can only be our pathetic, useless, calamitous Prime Minister, two-tier Sir Keir Starmer. It's got to be two-tier.
Fair enough.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is that right? Am I right? Here we go. Sir Keir Starmer, you are Plank of the Year. Yay! Yeah, big thanks to Chloe Dobbs, Rafe Heydel-Mankoo, Candice Holdsworth, and Pete Barnes, and me, Kevin O'Sullivan. Yeah, big thanks to me, especially a thanks to you. Thank you for watching all year. Have a fabulous rest of the festive season. Our compliments for the new year to you all, and we will see you back in 2026. Take care now.